sir, sometime to learn how to get started. Thank you so much once again.
You can get my details, email and telephone number from Rajat, and then
I'll do that.
Also all the panelists' numbers. Rajat, you can pass them on to me. We'll connect with them.
Yes, sir. I'll do that. So, Swaraj, we'd like to start now. You'd like to, we'll wait for a few people to join in. We'll start exactly at 6:30.
Yeah, we trigger off, and till then, you can open the registration.
It's open, sir, now. People have started joining in.
Yeah.
We already have 70 plus people joined.
Okay. All right. Good. In fact, yesterday we had 45,000 people.
Oh my God.
Wow.
We just did a program yesterday. We had 45,000 people, but they had informed people all over the world globally. So
and so what was the platform used to communicate to 45,000 people?
The platform was Zoom.
Zoom.
Zoom goes up to 10,000 and beyond 10,000, then we switch off from there to Facebook and YouTube. See, it also gives you a login. On the Facebook, they were about at one channel because it was live, about 15 people on Facebook there.
Nice.
And so all the spillover went to the Facebook and YouTube.
We are also live on Facebook now. So we are live on your page and other pages on Facebook also. So we have with us DK Singh also with us, who is the international president for Roundtable India. He has also joined us now.
Okay. Yeah. It's going to be on the screen somewhere. Would we see him on the screen somewhere?
You are able to see him?
No, I don't see him.
Go to gallery view, sir, on the side, you'll be able to see.
I see the
I'll put him on spotlight.
Raj, is the gentleman right? DK Singh?
Yes, sir. DK Singh is there.
Okay. And at the bottom of the...
Yeah. DK bhai, hi, can you hear us?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, DK bhai.
Is that the DK Singh?
Yes, sir. Good evening. This is DK Singh.
Okay. The gentleman in the right at the bottom, right? Is that?
Yeah.
That we don't know, sir, because it's coming for different people would be different. So how it...
Okay. Well, good afternoon and good to have you in right here.
Thank you very much, sir.
Not at all. It's a pleasure.
Good evening, everyone. We'll be starting at exactly 6:30, 5 minutes from now.
जाके पीछे हो जाता है।
So we have people from Roundtable India, we have people from BNI, we have people from Taxila Business School, and we have people from different business houses across the India and international. We also have with us DK Singh, who's the international president elect for Roundtable International. Mr. Kishore Sharma, mentor for Taxila Business School, Ayush Bansal, Vapi Valsad, BNI head, executive director, Swaraj Lahoti, who's our NAPD convener, Akan Shukla, secretary, JPRT 171 Jaipur table, and Pratik Agarwal, vice president, JPRT 171 Jaipur.
Great, wonderful.
So the how sequence would start, it will give each panelist 30 seconds to start with, and then Shiv sir will take over for an hour or so, and around 3 to 4 questions, few questions is what we will answer out, what he'll be answering out, and that's how the sequence of the events will go.
Rajat, my component would go probably hour 15 minutes somewhere, give or take. Hour
Yes, sir.
15, hour 20. Then we'll take 3 questions. A lot depends on how things go as we move on.
Right, sir.
Rajat, the viewership has already started on the Facebook pages.
Yes, we are live on different pages. We are live on Shiv sir's page and other different pages also, so people can join.
We already have a good number. Before 5 minutes before even starting, we are already 192 people on screen.
So Ayush, how you are doing and how's the business doing for you and Vapi Valsad and different sectors? So we'll start from you now. Would you like to share your views?
Right. So talking about my views on Vapi Valsad BNI specifically, yes, people are building. What was near at this point of time needed to be inculcated was what is the importance of building a relationship at this point of time, because eventually everyone has to accept the fact that business is not going to resume to the same stretch as it used to be. But at this point of time, if they have a good relationship to build, so maybe down the line when the lockdown opens, people do not have to scratch their head to what to do and what not to do after the lockdown opens. So the most beautiful part going here is people are understanding that what is the cost of a relationship, and they have to be in transactional relationship rather than going for transactional referrals or transactional business at this point of time. So that is working pretty well in especially our region. And not just that, we took a very good initiative in BNI Vapi Valsad, because we are close to 392 families, 400 families in BNI Vapi Valsad. So there's a very beautiful initiative which we took that's called Ruk Jana Nahi, We Won't Stop. This initiative is all about bringing families, children, mothers, fathers, everyone inside your families together through different kind of activities and having fun almost every alternate nights from 9:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. So there are more than 2,000 people, 5,000 people, 11,000 people viewing the entire event. And there are a lot of participants. So total 400 out of 400 people, 86.07% people registered for this event just within 24 hours. And we have a participation. If you talk about the participation, we have a participation of 1,440 people. In Rajat, we could just close it within 24 hours. And that's binding the region very beautifully together. And yet we are more stronger together.
What book you are reading now? What's the book which you are reading right now?
What is the book which I'm reading?
Yes, you're reading something?
Rajat, I'm so sorry. Rajat, I'm so sorry. I'm not reading any book right now. Not even one single book.
You can read it again and again.
Ayush?
Yes, sir.
The moment this lockdown opens up, I will send you my new book that was launched in London and Canada. The new book is You Can Achieve More. And at the back it says, if you want to stand out, you need to do something outstanding. And that is the key. Let me send you my gift to you the moment this opens.
It would be an absolute honor, sir, absolute pleasure to even receive one book from your side. Thank you. And I would remind you definitely that I am looking forward to that book from London for sure.
I won't forget that. An important thing is, but I will send that book to you. And it says very clearly something which is not addressing the topic here, but if you want to stand out, you need to do something outstanding. And many times people say, I want to have an extraordinary life. I want to have an extraordinary income. I want to have extraordinary success. You know something? They need to ask something. Are you an extraordinary person? Do you have extraordinary commitments in life? Are you willing to work extraordinarily hard in life? Do you have extraordinary relationships in life? Do you have extraordinary integrity in life? If you don't have any of these things, you can't get anything extraordinary. So you got to be before you can get anything. Are you with me? You got to be something before you can get anything. And that is the key. And sadly, though this is not part of my program today, many times when people see a success story, you know what they say? Must be at the right place at the right time. This is incorrect. Incorrect. See, you got to be the right person at the right place at the right time. You see, you could be at the right place at the right time, and if you're not the right person, you can get nothing in life. And not only that, this is still incomplete. Not only you need to be the right person at the right place at the right time, but you need to also do the right thing at that time. Now, if you are only right person at the right place at the right time and you don't do the right thing, you can't get anything.
So well said.
Kishore sir, what about you? How's Taxila doing and how you are doing in terms of the situation right now? Please unmute your mic. Your mic is unmuted. Please unmute your mic. Your mic is unmuted.
Right. Hi, good evening, everyone. Rajat sir, good evening. Khera sir, good evening. In fact, if I talk about in a business school, we have the most content-hungry crowd with us. Right? They are the people who would love to learn more every hour they spend in their life. So probably if I talk about around 20th, 21st, that lockdown was declared. And 23rd, we went on air. We started teaching our students across India on online platforms. Right. Since then, say 23rd onwards, we are teaching our students regularly, almost for 6 to 7 hours a day on Zoom or some other platform. Not only this, we have given them a lot of other assignments, so that their learning keeps on going, learning keeps on happening, and practically there's no hindrance to get them on the learning. Second, if I talk about the question was on the admissions, how we are doing in the admissions front. Yes, right now, if I talk about the admission front, students who has done their graduation and who wanted to go abroad, out of country, they have shifted taking admission in B schools across India, and a couple of students had approached us who were actually supposed to go either to US, UK or Australia. So yes, of course, during lockdown, nothing much has been changed, barring, yes, you're confined to your houses. But yes, we have let the learning go continuously, and learning is all we are giving is non-stop kind of a thing. Yeah, Rajat, over to you.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know if you are aware, I sent it to Rajat. The James Cook University from Australia has partnered with us. And I don't know if you have, maybe Rajat can forward it to you, or I'll ask my office to send it to you.
Yes, sir. We'll share it with all the people also.
James Cook University has partnered with us, and we're doing the whole leadership component program. And there, the whole program is based on creating leaders who can manage, not managers who cannot lead. It says, prepare and prevent, don't repair and repent. I repeat, prepare and prevent, don't repair and repent. And that is really the whole program all about for schools and colleges.
Right, sir. Swaraj, sir, what about you? How do you think and how Roundtable is doing and what work Roundtable is doing? After Swaraj, we'll come to you, DK, and then we'll start with Shiv Khera sir's full session. Swaraj, please go ahead.
Hello, hi. Thank you so much, Rajat. Good evening, Shiv Khera sir. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. It's an absolute honor and a privilege. Thank you for all the participants for attending. Guys, just to give you a brief about Roundtable as an organization, Roundtable is a young men's services club where young people in the age bracket of 18 to 40 come together and serve the community. Internationally, Roundtable was founded in England in the year 1927, and Roundtable came to India in 1957, 30 years after being founded globally. In India, we have been working on a long-term project since the year 1997, which is called Freedom Through Education. Under this project, we build infrastructure for primary education of underprivileged kids. And I'm very happy to report that as an organization with a total outlay of approximately over 300 crore rupees, we have built 7,000 plus classrooms impacting the lives of 7.5 million kids throughout the country. Apart from this long-term project, we also support various activities, various initiatives during natural calamities. We have served during events like the Bhuj earthquake, the Kashmir floods, the Chennai tsunami, the Gujarat floods, and we continue to do so in the current COVID-19 lockdown as well. We started an initiative called as the Roundtable India Kitchen, and I'm very happy to report to all of you that we have served over 20 lakh meals to the needy through this initiative and counting. So that is the kind of work Roundtable India is doing towards serving the community. And any of you, if you would like to contribute to the cause, we are 100% not-for-profit, zero overhead organization. Each penny that you contribute goes towards our project and our community service activities. You can go to roundtableindia.org and click on the donate button and contribute to the cause. Thank you so much once again, Shiv Khera sir, for doing this.
Thank you, sir. DK, would you like to speak something? We'll go with you. Please unmute your mic.
Thank you, Rajat. Thank you, Shiv Khera sir, to be here with us. I can see 400 plus people already join us as in this session, and might be 1,000 people or live people are going to see us in Facebook or live other platforms. So first of all, I like to welcome all. I represent Roundtable International. We are into 65 plus countries. Almost everyone is facing the same problem. I remember the Shiv Khera sir book line, the winners see the gain and losers see the pain. So this is the opportunity that every problem comes with us, pros and cons. So we can see the positive part of everything, and we need to be motivated in this situation to support our organization, our family, our company, our family, social people, those who are connected with us. So thank you very much, and thank you, Shiv Khera sir, again. Thank you.
Thank you. Akansh, please go ahead and introduce sir, and we'll start now. Please unmute your mic. We also have with us Jay Pandya, who's our chairman. Akansh, please go ahead.
Thank you, Rajat. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Shiv Khera. He is an author, educator, business consultant, and much sought after speaker. He has taken, He has taken his dynamic personal messages to opposite sides of the globe, from the US to Singapore. His 40 years of research and understanding has put millions on path of growth and fulfillment. Over 8 million copies of his book have been sold, including his international bestseller, You Can Win, in 21 different languages. His clients include Lufthansa, HP, DHL, HSBC, Canon, Nestle, Philips, Mercedes, Johnson & Johnson, MetLife, and many more. Tens of thousands have been benefited from his dynamic workshop in over 20 countries, and millions have been heard him as a keynote speaker. Mr. Shiv Khera is a brand ambassador of Roundtable India Foundation. He has been honored by the Lions and Rotary International. His trademark is, winners do not do things differently. They do things differently. On behalf of Roundtable India, I thank Mr. Shiv Khera for taking out time and enlightening us today on this webinar. Before I hand over the floor to Mr. Shiv Khera, I will request everyone to please keep their phone on, switch off their phone. Please do not put your phone on silent mode. Please switch off your phones. I request Mr. Shiv Khera to please take on the floor. Sir, please welcome.
All right. Thanks a lot. In fact, first of all, I want to thank Rajat for being the quarterback and taking the initiative to put the whole program together, and all the wonderful people that have come up who I've had the privilege of meeting up, talking, and especially I'm meeting Mr. D.K. Singh for the first time in my life on virtual screen. I am an ambassador to the round table. I feel very privileged to be ambassador. My only request is, especially if I may address you as DK, may I do that, sir? Then I would especially request you, now that I have the opportunity as a captive audience, utilize me a lot more. Utilize me a lot more, and I would be more than happy to do the kind of work that you're doing. I feel honored that to be part of you. I know you your cutoff age is at age 40. I'm 70. You can make a exception to me and make me an honorary member for life. Who knows what? But anyway, with those words. Now, we've been doing corporate training for the past almost, I'd say, 30, 35 years. And when we do corporate training, Ayush, I might address you sometime. When we do corporate training, we address people and we tell them that, look, what we are doing here is repair work. DK, what we are doing here is repair work. Now, if you prepare them, you won't have to repair them. If you prepare them, you won't have to repair them. And where do you prepare them? You prepare them in schools and colleges. That's where you prepare them. And that is where Roundtable, with their objective of freedom through education, I think that's the greatest thing that they're doing. All right. Now, to make some disclaimer here, certainly, I don't know of anybody in this world today who has all the answers. Certainly, I don't. Now, my academics are, I don't have many degrees from universities. I'm a BCom 3rd division, failed in my 10th. That's my academics. I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working, and the mines got nationalized and the government took over. And from being a mine owner, we came on the street. Street means street. Means my father had died when I was finishing college, and we were left with the liabilities and the assets were gone. And I was married only 4 weeks then. A time came when my daughter was born a year later. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. And I sold some of the last pieces of my mother's jewelry to get released from the hospital. I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money, and I failed in all. And finally, November 13, 1975, I left India, went to US, initially went to Toronto, and started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door. And then for about a year and a half, I was washing cars. Daytime, I was washing cars. Evening time, I was selling vacuum cleaners door to door to supplement my income. Then totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance. And it has a difficult start. I was on the verge of being fired. And there were some turning points, which I will share with you. What were the turning points in my life and how we came to overcome the setbacks and how I came back, and which has taught me multiple lessons. And eventually, God was kind. I started hitting $1 million of life insurance policies, eventually moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses and bought out a company out of California in 1984, started the New Jersey operation, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients. Now that for a decent sum. Now that is my journey through my life. And I've had 3 major setbacks in my life. And what are the things that taught me to come back in my life? That is what I'm going to share with you. That is why the title is How to Turn a Setback into a Comeback. Okay, that's one. Now, all of us are facing major challenges, and we're looking for ways how to overcome them and accelerate success. What are the challenges? The virus is invading one city to the other, and it has covered the whole world. 2, hospitals are overcrowded. 3, supplies are not there. Medical equipment is not there. 4, orders for businesses are getting canceled. 5, factories are closing. 6, unemployment has jacked up. 7, death rate is going up by the day. It is moving. Now, with all this scenario, this has literally shaken up the world. The world is shaken up. Now, people are feeling uncertain and nothing is predictable. Nobody can tell when will it stop. What is the stop line? Nobody can tell. So the uncertainty, unpredictability is making people insecure. People are feeling very insecure and they're going through personal hardships. And the personal insecurity is causing a lot of stress. And stress, anxiety, frustration, depression, and some people are feeling anger in them. Now, with that scenario, we need to understand what is going on out there. Now, first of all, we need to be very clear. Anybody who says, I have no stress, actually is lunatic. They ought to go into the lunatic asylum. Now, important thing is, stress cannot be avoided, nor can it be denied or should be denied. You know why? If we deny it, it comes back stronger and longer. Now, all stress is not bad. In fact, many times it forces us to think out of the box and come up with solutions which we would not have done ever in our life had we not gone through the stress. In fact, you look at an athlete anywhere in the world at the Olympics, before he gets into the competition, is he under stress? Answer is yes. It is that same stress that makes him perform. If he was not under stress, he would not be able to perform at all. So with the result, we need to understand all stress is not bad. Now, important thing is, all of us can handle stress. Everybody can handle stress. But what we cannot handle is chronic stress. Hear this, Ayush, one more time. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. That is the time we start breaking down. Okay, now think about it. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Identical circumstances, how come some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Now, the next sentence that I'm going to say, I will probably repeat a few times later. And that is, folks, let us not overrate, I repeat, let us not overrate the crisis and threat that we are facing. And two, let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. I repeat, this is so important. Let us not overrate the strength. Let us not overrate the crisis and threat. And let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. This is the foundation that we are talking about here. Now, with that in mind, this crisis has impacted us three ways, major ways. One is it has impacted our life. Two, it has impacted our livelihood. And three, it has impacted our lifestyle. Now, one at a time. How has it impacted our life? Folks, interestingly, none of us that are on this program today, nobody knows who will be in quarantine next. None of us know who will be in quarantine next. That is one part. And number two, who we meet, what we do, and where we go could be a matter of life and death for us. I repeat, who we meet, what we do, where we go could become a matter of life and death for us. Therefore, it is a matter of life to all of us today. Second is our livelihood. Now, important thing is, if we don't have livelihood, what good is life? You might as well be dead. You're better off dead than having life with no livelihood. So, important thing is, with the crisis coming in, all of us, micro and macro level, everybody, their livelihood has stopped. Individually, our income has stopped. Business-wise, the revenue has stopped. Governments are feeling bankrupt because the government's incomes have stopped. Everybody's incomes have stopped. So livelihood has stopped for all of us. Now, this is where some things have happened rather important. And that is, one, people have started looking at it. Who are the people who can continue and sustain? And folks, there are three kinds of people in this world. One is the super rich, and two, the mediocre, and three, the poor. And you can subdivide it, but let us stay with the three categories. The super rich are maybe the Tatas, the Birlas, the Apple company, or the Adanis and the Ambanis. They're super rich. I will be totally surprised if they have a cash flow problem. I will be totally surprised if they have a livelihood problem. I heard on the news the other day, Apple has $200 billion in reserve, $200 billion in reserve. So I don't think they have a livelihood problem. There may be other problems, but what I'm sharing with you is that they are the super rich. They don't have the livelihood problems. I'll be surprised if they do. Now, coming to mediocre people like me and maybe some others, people like us are now evaluating that how much money do I have to sustain my lifestyle? How much money do I have? And if this crisis doesn't open up, can I last 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? How long can I last? We're all evaluating our own reserves now. Now, when I was doing financial planning, we had another company which I sold in US. When we did financial planning for our clients, we always used to mention that it is so crucial to have 1 year of your income in reserve, 1 year of your income. And 6 months of your income should be considered always as emergency fund or accident fund, which one should be able to access within less than 24 hours. I repeat, 6 months of a person's income should be accessible anytime within less than 24 hours. Because accidents and emergencies do not give you warning in advance. That's why they're called accidents. They don't warn you in advance. So 6 months of reserve should be called emergency fund, and 6 months of reserve should be called opportunity fund, where we can access it within a matter of 2-3 weeks. But anyway, those who don't have it, it's a little too late. But for going into the future, this is the planning that we used to do in the US for our clients. Now, this is the mediocre level people who are thinking, how far will this go to me? Now, one more thing that has come up to the mind is they have started making a distinction between active income and passive income. Active income and passive income. See, I go to work, I get money. I go to work, I get money. I go to work, I get money. I get paid when I go to work. The moment I stop going to work, I don't get money. This is where people are saying, well, active income is good. We need it badly. But I need to have passive income too. I need to have a passive income. Okay. This is one part. So this is the people who are talking of livelihood part. Now, the livelihood part is, the third part is the poor people. They're the worst hit. They're the daily wage earners, hourly earners. They earn during the day, eat in the evening, earn during the day, eat in the evening, they are the worst hit. Now, coming to one more area. I had a banker the other day, he met me, and I asked him, you are working with what percentage of your staff? He said, we are working with 30% of our staff in the office, in our banks. I said, are you working at 30% efficiency also? He said, no, sir. We're working at 60, 70, 80%, and we're looking to hit 90% efficiency. Oh, I said, really? With how many staff? 30% staff. So I said, if you are looking to hit 80, 90% efficiency levels, now does that mean that these people who were working here before, they were redundant, or they will become redundant after the crisis is over? Means you're working at 70% less staff. Will they become redundant after the crisis is over. So what will happen to the livelihood then? Okay. He said, we haven't faced that, but that is a real issue that we have to address. But then he said one more thing. He said, we'll have to screen out people. And how would you screen out? He said, in any organization, there are 4 kinds of people. One is the superstar. They are proactive people. They work without supervision. They do a great job. You don't have to supervise them. If they tell that they've done it, they've done it. If you can trust them, you don't have to double check them 50 times to see if they're telling the correct thing or not. And they inject new ideas into your organization and new things. They introduce new things. They are the superstars. Now, that's one kind of person. The second category of people in an organization are the doers. You tell them they do it, you tell them they do it, you tell them they do it. You don't tell them that they don't do it. And then when they do it, you have to check if they've done it right. That is a doer part. The third category of people in any organization is the talkers. They talk, they don't want to do. They talk, they don't want to do. And they only do what they can get by with. I repeat, they only do what they can get by with. They're really not motivated, but they do enough that you have no reason to fire them, but that's it. But they're really not motivated people. They're the talkers. And the fourth category of person working in any organization is a troublemaker. There's always a troublemaker everywhere. So he says, Mr. Khera, we'll have to screen out the talkers and the troublemakers now. That's all we need to do. But the superstars and doers, you want to manage with them as we go along. Now, the next aspect was, I said, you have 70% of your people working from home. You're paying 100% salary. Is the output the same as before? He said, Mr. Khera, no, not really, because the 80-20 rule applies. 20% people are responsible. They're self-motivated. They work without supervision. But 80% people, they need supervision. They need guidance. And somehow or the other, even if we give them quantifiable, measurable parameters, we still have to supervise them. In fact, I heard Narayan Murthy the other day. He said there are people working from home. We have to set productivity standards, not only at home, but even at work to measure. Unless you link their compensation salary to performance. Then it's different. It's great. You perform, you get your money. You perform, you get money. But he said the 80-20 rule applies. 80% people do need supervision. Okay? With that in mind, unemployments, we're talking of the livelihood part. Are you aware? In the last 4 weeks, in excess of 30 million people have become unemployed in the US. 30 million people in the last 3 weeks to 4 weeks. 30 million people. That's a big number. And more is coming, by the way. More is coming. Because they are looking at it somewhere about 45 to 50 million people. Well, let's see what it is. Now, idea here is not to scare, but make people aware. I repeat, not to scare, but make people aware. Okay. Now, this is livelihood part. Now, let us talk of lifestyle. Now, till the lockdown came, till the crisis came, all of us were on the fast lane. Everybody was on the fast lane. We had no time. Nobody had time. Look at this. The amount of time-saving devices we have today, we have never had that many in history, and yet we don't have time. Now, that's what happened before the lockdown. And this lockdown, now we have only time. That's all we have is time. And this has literally forced us to look at our priorities in life. And you see, whenever we mess up our priorities, and most of us had, and by the way, that includes me too. I'm not here preaching. I'm guilty myself. And when we mess up our priorities. We forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. And urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. But the interesting thing is, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. See, health is important, but it's not urgent. Exercising every day is important, but it is not urgent. See, if I have a crucial meeting tonight and if I cannot exercise, it's not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I will end up in the hospital. See, you ignore anything which is important, it converts into urgent. See, in life, relationships are important, but they're not urgent. But if we ignore relationships long enough, guess what happens? You start talking through your lawyers. We need to get our priorities right. And interestingly, when we were all in the fast lane, nobody took the time to see, we're running fast, but check, are we running in the right direction? Are we running in the right direction? And you ask people, why do you go to work? I work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. Who are the most neglected people? Also my family. Look at this. The most important, also most neglected. And I'm guilty myself sometimes. This has literally forced people now to think that I was running on the fast lane, not realizing what was my direction. And now people realizing that in life, remember, direction is much more important than speed. Remember, I repeat, direction in life is much more important than speed. If you have speed and they're running the wrong direction, you'll go much further away from your life, and that's about it. So this has changed our lifestyle. Now, one more thing it has impacted our lifestyle is people have started rethinking that money in the bank is more important than having 35 shirts in your closet. Are you with me? They've started thinking that money in the bank is more important than having 35 shirts in your closet. And people who are buying $100,000, $200,000, $250,000 cars, they say, oh, money in the bank is more precious than having a $250,000 car. It has got people to rethink on discretionary and non-discretionary spending. Well, discretionary you can get rid of, but non-discretionary you cannot. Which is what? Food and medicine. There's nothing I can do about that. Food and medicine. And one more thing it has done is people are realizing that top line is not that important. Bottom line is more important than top line. I repeat, bottom line is more important than top line. Top line, you can't see a growth right now. Nothing is coming up. But people are looking at how am I able to maintain my bottom line? That's the crucial part. Okay. Now, this is so much for the livelihood part. Now, let us look at where we stand today. Now, is there any comparison? Is there any parallel in history to see if we ever faced a crisis like this? And if we did, how did we overcome? There are only two parallels in history where we faced a similar crisis. One was 100 years ago, which is called the Spanish flu in the year 1918. Now hear this, folks. In the year 1918 and 1919, the Spanish flu that came, 50 million people were dead. 50 million people were dead. And it came in two phases. In 1918, it came in. And it started sliding down, tapering off. And when it started tapering off, people said, it's gone. People said, it's gone. But you know something? It came back again. And the second phase was much worse than the first phase. And it took a toll of 50 million people globally, and 18 million Indians died. 18 million Indians died. Now, why I bring this up? Because nobody's saying, when will this crisis be over? Therefore, medical doctors are saying this crisis will be only over the day we have fully tested vaccine there. That's the day it's over. Till then, it's not over. So till then, don't drop your guard. Don't be lax. Don't drop your guard. Because if it comes back the second phase, it'll be much worse. Look at what's going on in South Korea. Look at what's going on in Singapore. The second phase came back. And it has jacked up tremendously. So we cannot afford to drop the guards here. Okay, now, so much for that. That was the Spanish flu. Now, the second parallel in history was also about close to 100 years ago, in 1928 and 29, the Great Depression that took place. That time, Wall Street collapsed. There was total panic. Banks failed. People lost their savings. $1,000 became $150. I repeat, $1,000 became $1,500. And 15 million people got unemployed. 15 million people. Now, 15 million 100 years ago, 1928, is equivalent to 60 million today. You know why? The population in the US was only 120 million at that time. Today, there are 330 million people in the US. So the numbers are horrendous. Okay, that is one. But now let us look at the silver lining. Let us look at the silver lining. You see, experience has shown that whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment also goes up. I will repeat this, very important. Whenever unemployment has gone up, self-employment has also gone up. Now, during the Great Depression, what we heard right now, there were a handful of people who did not have great degrees from colleges. They were not techies. They were not very innovative people. But what they had was, they were positive people. They were solution-focused people. And they started an enterprise, and they were labeled as positive entrepreneurs or survivalist entrepreneurs. Survivalist. And they were solution-focused. And I'll share with you 3 examples how they started, and today they have become a household word in United States, in the US. Now, they were solution-focused people. There is a breed of people in this world who are problem-focused. You know what that means? You give them a solution, they'll give you a problem. They have a problem for every solution. Henry Ford said, kick them out, kick them out, kick them out. We're not stupid. We understand there are problems in this world. Of course they are. But he said, we want solution-focused people. Now, let me share with you these 3 people, examples. Number 1 was a man by the name of George Jenkins. In his neighborhood area, they were an abandoned place, abandoned totally. He started a non-perishable, durable goods outlet. Now, let me explain to you why this was. Non-perishable, because he did not have the power to take a risk. He did not have the ability to take a risk. If perishable stuff perishes, it's total loss. He could not afford to do that. So he started with non-perishable, durable goods. Durable, why durable? Because if he said, if I'm not able to sell, at least I can use it or my family can use it. He started a small little outlet in abandoned place during the Depression. And today, in the US, he has 1,000 outlets, does in excess of $30 billion. His net worth is $6 billion. And the store's name is called Publix Supermarket. Go check it out. Second example was there were two brothers in California. And they were also facing the same problem. But they started crushing grapes and started making wine out of it. But then the economy was so bad, they couldn't sell it. They started selling wine at a loss, 50% below market, 50% below market. That's how they started. That was the starting point. And today, they are known as the Gallo wineries, accounting for 25% of the winery business in the US, and they are worth $10 billion. Third example, a man by the name of Simplot in Idaho had a small patch of land, and he started cultivating potatoes. Now, interesting, what he couldn't sell, he ate, and his family ate. But what he couldn't eat started rotting. Now, when he saw his potato rotting, he could not afford the loss, had no money. He created a little device to freeze them. And guess what? Today, he accounts for 33% of the French fries business in the United States, and he's called the Potato King in the US, and he's worth 10 or 12 billion dollars. Now, folks, I don't want to leave you the impression that each one of us will start like this and become billionaires again and again and again. I'm not saying that at all. Get the spirit right. My point of giving such examples is that these people faced similar problems or even worse. And they had no money. And they had no degrees from universities. But you know something? They had common sense. And common sense is better education than degree. There are many people with degrees and no common sense. And you know something? If degrees were not important, and I know there are some people from the Taxila group here and many other colleges, and hear this, if there were no degrees, if degrees were not important for getting a job, probably the university's admission will go down by maybe 60, 70, 80%. You know something? People have come to realize that education is more important than degree. I repeat, education is more important than degree. And today, you can get global education for free. Everything in this world is available on Google. I repeat, everything in this world is available on Google for free. I repeat, they understood that education is more important than a degree. Now, with that in mind, this crisis has impacted us three ways. And that is, it has impacted us physically, which is medically. 2, impacted us economically. And 3, it has impacted us psychologically, which is emotionally. And let me address the 3 elements here now. And then how do we cope up with the crisis? That is something that I'm going to share with you right after this. Now, we talk of physically and medically. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not qualified to talk about it. Hence, I will not. And there's enough information from the WHO going all around. in giving a lot of good information. And besides, the news is giving a lot. So I'm going to stay away from it. But let me address the hygiene factor on physical side. It has literally forced people like us. I mean, I'm hitting close to 70. Now, it is literally forcing people like us to rethink what our parents taught us, the value of hygiene. And they said, you go out, wash hands. You come back, you wash hands. You go to the bathroom, you wash hands. You come out of the bathroom, you wash hands. You touch anything, you wash hands. You touch currency notes, you wash hands. You don't eat food till you wash hands. You must wash hands before you eat food. You know something? All these hygienic habits, somehow or the other, somewhere, possibly, we have forgotten to teach them to our kids, our grandkids, or even our domestic help, or even help in our offices. Probably we have not done our job right. We need to understand that. Okay, now, this is one side of washing hands. And there are some people washing hands 20 times a day. Now, look at these people who are insensitive. The round table, the Rotaries, these are people who are putting their own time and money to serve society. But there are people who are troublemakers, who create problems. Such as, now this guy who goes and washes hands with a soap. And while he is rubbing his hands with a soap, he leaves the tap on. And while the tap is running, do you realize that every time you rub your hands with a soap and the tap keeps running, you are losing 5 liters of water, 5 liters of water with one hand wash. And if you're washing your hands 20 times a day, one person is wasting 100 liters. And if you have 5 members in your home, you are wasting 500 liters. Only one family, one home. And remember, next World War III will be on shortage of water. Next World War will be on shortage of water. And this is insensitivity. The second part is that there are many poor people all over the world. You tell them to wash hands with soaps. You know what their answer is? Sir, we don't even have drinking water. How the hell do we wash hands? That is so sad. And that is true. Now, let us come to the silver lining again. And the silver lining is, I heard a medical doctor say the other day, he said, because of the crisis, the positive side is that our hospitals' occupancy has gone down by 50, 60, as high as 70%. Occupancy has gone down by 70%. And he said, I'm not talking of the coronavirus. That is separate. But regular occupancy has gone down by 50, 60, and 70%. How's that? And you know what his answer was? He said, since everybody's at home, no cars are running, factories are not polluting, factories and cars are not polluting the air anymore. So people are not facing respiratory problems anymore. So people are not coming up with any respiratory problems. One. Number two, since cars are not on the road, there are no road accidents. He says, we don't get any accident victims anymore. And third, he said, there is so much of hygiene and sanitary conditions have changed. People are not catching infection anymore. So that is a good part because of the sanitary condition. He said, boy, occupancy went down. This is a good problem to have. I hope we can continue this. Okay. Now that is so far as the physical side is concerned. Now let us come to the economic side, the financial side. Now what has happened is people again are thinking micro and macro. The rethink has come in that today there is so much of dependence of one country to another. And everybody was, globalization was the buzzword. I'm globalizing. People say, no. Skip the globalizing business. Localize now. Localize.
We have had dependence too much overseas, 25,000 miles away. Are you aware that 97% of pharma drugs are coming from China in the US? US depends on China for 97% of the pharma stuff. 97%. They said, boy, we are in trouble. So everybody's talking, forget globalization, talk localization now. Yeah, globalization will happen. Don't worry about that. But we need to become self-sufficient, number one. And number two, today, between production and consumption, there is a gap of 25,000 miles. 25,000 miles. So they say, no, we can't work like this anymore. We must bring production close to consumption now. We must bring production to consumption. Now, the next question is, why did you take production that far, 25,000 miles away earlier? Majorly because of labor cost. But now people are saying, with the artificial intelligence coming in, with the robotics coming in, the labor component has gone down drastically. So get the production near the consumption. Get the production near the consumption. And now, that much part for the economics. Let me move on to the third component, is the psychological part. Psychological part. Now, psychological part is our emotional component of this crisis, emotional part. Interestingly, people who are emotionally strong, they are coming out of this crisis stronger. I repeat, people who are emotionally strong, they are coming out of it stronger. And people who are emotionally weak, they are falling apart. And not only are they falling apart, but they are creating big problems in their families. WHO said that domestic violence has gone up by 50%. Domestic violence has gone up by 50%. What is happening? People who have good relationship, emotionally strong, they're coming out stronger. And emotionally weak people are creating bigger problems in homes now. And coming to, I will address as we go along a little bit further. Now, the important thing is, how do we cope with the crisis? What are the coping mechanisms? I will share with you, and if you want to take them down, please do so. I'm going to share with you 9 steps. 9 steps how to cope up with this crisis. Folks, step 1. Step 1 is the Serenity Prayer. I'll repeat. It is the Serenity Prayer. About 45 years ago, when I went to US, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. There were 1,000 people. I was sitting one of them as a student. As he came in, he looked at the entire audience and he said, it appears all of you people are sitting so calm, relaxed, comfortable, and it seems nobody has a problem here. So then he asked, does anybody here have a problem? And of course, everybody raised their hand. Of course, we all have a problem because everybody has a problem. And then he said, how many people would like to get rid of their problem? Again, everybody raised their hand. We want to get rid of the problem. And then he said, while coming here, I came across a place where I saw there were some people all stretched out, totally relaxed. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is? So again, everybody raised their hand. Then Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. There are people lying there all stretched out, totally relaxed. They have no problem at all. And then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put their hand in the pocket. And then what Dr. Peel said that day was very profound. He said, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problems, we'd be dead. And he says, if you're running short of problems, be careful. That's the time to get on your knees and pray to God. If you stop trusting me anymore, send me some problems. But what he gave after that was very profound. He gave something called a Serenity Prayer, which wasn't his, it was somebody else's. But he said, we cannot solve all our problems, but we can handle them. I repeat, we cannot solve all our problems, but we can handle them. And then he gave a Serenity Prayer, which I noted down that day. And for the past 45 years, I have never left my home without my prayer. It has given me so much strength to face many, many adverse conditions in life. But I have learned this is the gist of life. And let me share that with you tonight. It goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. I repeat, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. Now, if you analyze and dissect this little prayer, it is literally the gist of life. And it goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Folks, there are some things beyond us. Is everything in control in our life? Answer is no. There are some things beyond. I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, and neither did you. And if this is the color of my skin and this is my height, I can't be 6'10". There's nothing I can do about that. And granted, sometimes people are born deformed. What wrong did they do? And granted, sometimes bad things do happen to good people for no fault of their own. What wrong did they do? Who knows? How did this crisis come? We don't know. But it's here. But he said that day, if I cannot change, then give me, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, if I can't change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. Folks, there are many people in life who keep fighting the things they just cannot change, and we bring stress into our lives. And they become totally unproductive. Stress comes in, we become paralyzed. With stress, we become paralyzed. And many times in life, we keep fighting the things we just cannot change. And we bring stress and become unproductive in life. So if I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. Number one. Number two, if I can change, then give me the guts to do it. And three, wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. Now, when I wrote my book, You Can Win and You Can Achieve More, I took this thought 2 steps forward. And I wrote in that life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Seems like a contradiction, but not really. See, folks, how is life full of choices? If I ill-treat you, I've chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? If I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? If I drink and drive, I've chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? If I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I? If I eat too much, I've chosen to invite obesity, haven't I? And if I practice unhygienic habits and I go into insanitary condition, I've chosen to invite the virus, haven't I? Folks, hear this carefully. Life is full of choices. Now, important. We are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. I repeat. We are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. Now, how is life full of compromises? As somebody said beautifully, in life, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose is how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That's a choice. Now, we all have a lemonade to us now. We need to make a lemonade out of this lemon that has come to us. Now, many times I'm asked, what is success? Series of positive choices in life is called success. And series of negative choices in life is called failure. That's it. Now, sometimes I've had people from the press ask me, Mr. Khera, people who are successful, don't they make mistakes in life? And people who are so-called failures, don't they do things that are positive in life? And my answer is that people who are successful, they do make mistakes. But hear this carefully. Making a mistake once in a while does not make a person a failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again and again is what makes a person a failure. And hear this. Doing something positive once in a while does not bring success. Repeating the same positive behavior again and again and again is what brings success. This is what we are talking about, success and failure. Are you with me, folks? Are you with me? Shake your hands. Are you with me? All right. And that's the key. Now, this is what? Step two. Step two. To cope with the crisis, limit your exposure to news only twice a day, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. That's it. That's it. You know why? News is so negative. It is so depressing. It pulls people down. Have you noticed there are some people who wake up in the morning and all they do is turn on the news, TV. And what are they seeing? Score. They're looking for scores. So many infected, so many died. So many infected, so many died. So many infected, so many died. As if this is cricket match going on between England and Australia. And they got the score from one channel and then they move to the second channel, third channel, fourth channel, fifth channel. They keep switching channels only to find out how many infected, how many died, how many infected. And they watch TV 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day in the evening after hearing all the deaths all over the world. The guy is depressed. No wonder his own immunity goes down and your chance of catching the viral are much greater. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not here just preaching. I made that same mistake one myself. When the whole crisis came down and the lockdown took place, I was also watching TV, or the TV and the news about 6-8 hours a day. But I made that mistake. I said, what the hell are you doing? I kicked myself. I said, get out. Remember, limit your exposure to news only twice a day, 15 minutes morning, 15 minutes in the evening, that's it. And important thing is, get your information from reliable sources. There's a lot of fake information going on today. I repeat, get your information from reliable sources. There is a lot of fake information going on today. So be careful. So that's step two. Step three. Step three, in order to cope with the crisis, turn wasted time to productive time, to learning time. Turn wasted time to learning time. Learning time. You know why? Learning will result in earning. Learning will result in earning. Now, let me share with you how can learning will translate to earning. Before the crisis, there was a survey conducted in the US which said an average American watches 3 to 4 hours of television per day. By the way, this is true for most people all over the world. And this was before the lockdown came. When they were working and they still were watching 3 to 4 hours of TV per day. And today they're watching 7, 8, 10 hours of TV per day. But this is lost, wasted time, converted into productive time. So one person bought a new TV and a friend of his came to see him. And he saw the new TV at home. He was impressed. So he asked his friend, buddy, how much did it cost you? So the friend said, $1,000. He said, are you sure? He said, yes. He said, tell me, how many hours of TV do you watch every day? He said, 3 hours. And he said, what is your annual income? He said, I make $100,000 a year. He said, have you ever calculated what is your hourly rate money-wise? He said, I work 2,000 hours a year, hourly rate $100,000 a year. My hourly rate is $50 an hour. Okay, he said $50 an hour, and you watch 3 hours of TV per day. That means $150 per day is your loss. $150 per day. And multiply 365, 1,000 hours per year. He said this TV is costing you $55,000 per year. You know something? That is more than your EMI on a $500,000 home. That is more than your EMI on a $500,000 home. Folks, don't get me wrong. Watching TV once in a while is relaxing. I watch it. Watching a nice movie once in a while is nice. And watching a nice show is nice. It relaxes. But if all we do is just keep watching TV all day long, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours a day, you know something? We're watching those actors, we're paying for them, and we pay with our own money. And the man said, convert your TV time to productive time. So now, a statistics I have mentioned in my book, You Can Achieve More, which says that currently, Pratik, hear this, currently 85% of millionaires and billionaires in the world are first generation. Hear this, 85% of millionaires and billionaires are first generation. Only 15% are coming from inheritance. And they were asked, how could you achieve so much financial strength in such a short time? How could you do it? And their answer was, we read books. And how many books? And the answer was, we read about 50 books a year. 50 books a year. 50 books a year comes to what? 1 book a week. And they were asked, what kind of books do you read? And the answer was, we only read self-help books. We don't read fiction. Why? Because fiction is fiction. What am I going to get out of it? Nothing. It is fiction. It is fictitious. He said, reading a self-help book, one good idea is worth $1 million. And he said, I have no time to waste. Look at this. Multi-millionaires and billionaires. They read 1 book a week, 1 book a week. So there is a total correlation between learning and earning, learning, earning, learning, earning. Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, read them. Find out. They have book clubs and they read it. And there are people who say, I don't have the money to buy a book. You know something? They don't have the commitment or the desire. There are people unemployed. They have all the time in the world, but they won't do it. You know why? Folks, you can get free books from libraries. Doesn't cost you anything, but they won't do it. Now, a serious person who means business, they never ever borrow or lend books. They never borrow or lend books. Never. Many times I've had people come and tell me, Mr. Khera, I got a great book. I can lend it to you. I said, no, sir, don't lend it to me. Give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me. But don't lend it to me because I will not give it back to you. You know why? When I read a book, I always keep a pen and paper handy. I underline, highlight, make notes on the side. You know why? I've learned one thing in my life, that reading a good book once is not good enough. You know why? When you read the book second time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you find something new in yourself. I repeat, this is, Rajat, so important. When you read a good book second time, you don't find nothing new in the book, but you find something new in yourself. And that is priceless. And now, convert your TV time into productive time. Now, don't get me wrong, I made that mistake. At one time, I used to read about 30, 40 books a year. But then in between, for a few years, I dropped the habit. Though I listened to some positive message 2 hours per day, even today, every day, 1 hour at night, 1 hour in the morning. But then I started cleaning up my library, my office, and I found in my library, I have close to 250,000 books in my library, which is more than many library has them. And I saw some of the books were read half, and I left them half. I pulled them out. I said, let me complete this book. And the other night, I was reading a book. I kept reading the book till 6 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't get up in the morning. I slept till 2 o'clock. I have no problem. I'll sleep till 2. But you know, I did not waste my time watching TV. I learned something. And there is a connection between learning and earning. And you know something, if you have not upskilled, now I'll come back to you and I'll share with you, yeah, this is crucial. If during this lockdown period, hear this carefully, folks, this I will repeat at the end again, it is crucial. If during this lockdown period, if we have not upskilled, or if we have not become more knowledgeable, or if we have not become healthier and fitter, it is not because we lack time, but we lack self-discipline and commitment. I repeat, if this lockdown period, a month and a half, if we have not upskilled ourselves, if we have not become more knowledgeable, or if we have not become healthier and fitter, it is not because we lack time, but we lack the self-discipline and commitment. Folks, till about a month and a half ago, I did not know how to turn the computer on. And I'm not proud of it. I could not send an email. And I was learning SMSs from my kids, my grandchildren. Folks, today, almost every day, since the last 1 month, and going forward for the next 20 days, I have booked every day, every alternate day, I'm booked. And yesterday we had almost 50,000 people on our webinars. It is going on every day. But you know, I learned this only during this period. And I can see that this is another source of revenue that is looking going forward. It is just open up something new for me. I repeat, if during this period, if you have not upskilled, or if you have not become more knowledgeable, or if you have not become healthier and fitter, man, you have wasted your life. The problem is with you and us. You lack the self-discipline and commitment. That's all. Not because you lack time. We need to learn from the government of Singapore. You see, they have allocated a few $1 billion for the people in the lockdown period. You know what they said? During uptime, we did not have time to reskill and upskill. This during downtime, we have the time to do it. Because when the downtime is over, when things go back up again, we will be prepared. We will not have any gestation period, no waiting period. We'll get a jump start. This is how people are working today. Positive people. I called the other guy another person, and I said, what's going on? He said, Shiv, I'm so busy. I said, what's happened? I said, you used to work 8 hours a day. He said, we're working 10, 12 hours a day. He said, we are getting a jump start all over. Watch what we're doing. This is what is going. Convert your wasted time to productive time. And there is the connection between learning and earning. Next step. Step 4. To cope with a crisis, build strong relationships. This is the time to build relationships. See, earlier, you asked people, why do you go to work? I work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. Who are the most neglected? Also my family. Sadly, we all were guilty of it. But you see, earlier we said we had no time. Today we have time. This is the time to build strong relationships. Our family and friends, our family and friends. And God forbid, if any one of us had a major problem, major challenge, or some major situation, who will be there? Only your close relatives. Nobody will be there. Only your close relatives and friends. That's it. Who we take them for granted. You know something, folks? I learned one thing in my life, that a person who has strong relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. Are you with me? You see, a person with a strong relationship, what they can achieve with strong relationship, with one phone call, you cannot accomplish with $1 million. Now, folks, we need to bring strong bonds within our families, at home, friends. That's it. Now, that's one part. People who are emotionally strong, their relationship becomes stronger. And people who are weak, they become destructive. Time to build it. And if you don't build it, you'll break tomorrow. That's a fact. Now, not only within our families, but it is also time to build relationship beyond family, socially and professionally. I repeat, socially and professionally. I share with you. You keep hearing from people. I do networking, and I hear many times from groups, whether Rotarians or the Lions or the round tables or even the BNIs, they talk, oh, I do networking. That's what they do. But you know something? Their only purpose of networking is, what can I get from somebody? What can I get from somebody? What can I get from somebody? You know something? They are rascals. They are crooks, self-centered, selfish people. Kick them out. Kick them out. And they will throw you like dirt after they got something out of you. They're only takers, never givers. They're fake people. You know something? They build with you so long as you're useful. Usefulness goes, you're out. That is not the kind of person you want to build a relationship. Never. Don't waste your time. Folks, I share with you, networking is, you have to give something in life. Coming back is a byproduct. It is a byproduct. If it comes, great. Doesn't come, it's okay. Coming back is totally a bonus. Now, hear this. I received a phone call from a person who I had not spoken in 10 years. Strangely, I got a call and says, Mr. Khera, we had met so-and-so place about 10 years ago. Somewhere we got disconnected. I'm calling to apologize. I said, what? Yes, sir, I'm calling to apologize that somewhere we got disconnected. It is my fault. I did not keep my relationship with you. I apologize for it. I'm just calling in to reconnect with you. That's all. I said, wow, my God. I'm just calling to reconnect with you. That's all. Because I had respect for you all the time and I have respect for you even today. But I'm calling to reconnect. You know something? When he said that, I felt so guilty. I felt so guilty. I said, he beat me to a call. He taught me a lesson today that there are many good people in life who we met and somewhere we did not keep up with them. And immediately I pulled up all my directories. I pulled up all my telephone books. Immediately I said, buddy, let me see who I have disconnected. I need to reconnect. Good people only. Remember, don't waste your time on rascals. Only good people. Pick up, reconnect. Pick up, reconnect. The only people who are takers, keep them out. Keep in mind, we are here to give. We are here to share. Give is okay. We are here to give. Now, connect with them. And I started making phone calls with some people. And I said, buddy, I apologize. I did not keep my connection with you. I'm so sorry about that. That's the only reason I'm calling you today. And going forward, we will reconnect. And a gentleman asked me, professionally, what can we do to help out moving forward after the crisis is over? I said, do one thing. I'm sharing with you a tip which we do for consulting with many our people, and they pay us big fees for it. I said, do one thing. I said, do one thing. Go back and look at all your people you have done business in the last 6 years. Don't go beyond 6 years, too far. Maybe 5 years is good enough. Just look at all your people who have done business in the last 5 years. And check up, out of all those people you did business in 5 years, you have not done business with people in the last 1 year. Now, all you do is you pick up the phone and call who was doing business with you 5 years ago. They will take your call. They have time to listen to you. They trusted you once. Keep in mind, they did trust you once. That's why they did business with you five years ago. Otherwise, they would not have done that either. Pick up the phone and call and say, buddy, I just checked my records that we did some business 5 years ago and we haven't done anything since. I just want to know, I will be grateful to you. I will be grateful to you. Can you just tell me, where did I go wrong? Don't say I'm calling to reconnect and do business with you tomorrow. No. I'm just calling to find out, sir, where did I go wrong? Where did I go wrong? I'll be grateful if you could just help me out. And that's it. And today when you make that call, he has the time to listen to you. Tomorrow he won't have the time. Just pick up the phone. That's it. Reconnect. They trusted you once. Reestablish the trust. But don't say, I'm calling to do business with you again. Don't say that. Let the crisis get over. Reconnect with them again. And come back. Otherwise, we sound like a stooge. That's all. You want to get something out of this guy. Don't do it. Okay. Build positive, strong relationships. And that is crucial. They are priceless. And interestingly, let me share with you, this banker who came to see me the other day, he said, Mr. Khera, we're building such strong relationship with our people. I said, how come? He said, we are calling our clients and putting them on a digital platform. Especially the senior citizens. They were not tech savvy like me. And he says, we put them all on the digital platform, but we are making calls to them, especially the senior citizens, and telling them, sir, you are citizens, you are bound in a lockdown situation. We are part of essential services. You can't come out, but we can come out. You can't come out, but we can come out. Tell us, besides banking, is there anything else we can do for you? The guy got a shock of his life. He said, you can't come out, but we can come out. can I do other than banking for you today? Interesting. What a way to build relationship. I got a call from American Express the other day. Amex, I got a call. I'm so-and-so, Mr. Khera. So my first thought was, I paid your bill last month. Why are you calling? He said, Mr. Khera, I'm not calling for the bill. I know it was paid last month. But he said, I look at my record, you have been a platinum member since 1984 from US. I'm just calling to find how things are at your end or your family. That's all. That's all. I said, boy, that's nice of you to do that, to find out. But I wish I had asked him, what if things are not right with me? What if somebody's sick here? What if I need grocery here? What would you do for me? I didn't ask him, but I bet he would have said, let me arrange a medical assistance for you, or let me arrange some groceries shipped out to you. I don't know. But the very fact that he called me and said, I'm just calling to check how things are with you at your end. You know something? I think in the last 2 weeks, the amount of publicity I have done for Amex, probably they could not have done with $1 million. Close to 500,000 people have watched my programs in the last. Probably I should bill them. I haven't done it. But think about it. Folks, build relationships. Step four. Step four. So, folks, I'm listening on the TV and even listening, got some phone calls from some people. Mr. Khera, I'm feeling very depressed. Whole thing is very depressing here. I'm feeling bored. What do I do? I'm feeling very lonely, and so on and so forth. So my answer to them is, now I wouldn't do the consulting and talk to them like this, but here is, I learned one thing in my life. Only boring people are bored in life. I repeat, only boring people are bored in life. That's it. Now, this is the difference between feeling lonely and solitude. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the pleasure of being alone. I enjoy my company. I'm at peace with myself. I like my company. Look, buddy, if you can't enjoy your own company, you are in bad company. If you can't live with yourself, you are in bad company. Of course, you are in bad company. Now, how do you overcome depression? Folks, a world-famous psychiatrist was a man by the name of Dr. Carl Menninger. Menninger Clinic, even today in the US, is considered to be the last word in psychiatry. So somebody asked Dr. Menninger, Doc, if you knew for sure somebody was coming with an attack of depression, what treatment would you prescribe? They were thinking he will write medication. And Dr. Menninger said, if I knew for sure that somebody was coming up with an attack of depression, I will tell them, go home, lock yourself out, go to the other side of town, find somebody who is in trouble, help them, and your depression will go away. He said, go to the other side of town, find somebody who's in trouble, help them, and your depression will go away. And he said, people who are busy helping others, they don't have time to get depressed. They have no time to get depressed. I do a lot of work with the Rotarians and the Lions and the Roundtablers, done some fundraising. And you know something I find? These people, the Tablers, the Rotarians, and similar Lions people, all these guys, they are so positive. You know why? They're busy all the time, either setting up a blood donation camp, eye camp, polio eradication, doing something. They have no time to get depressed. How the hell do you get depressed? Folks, this is very clear. A world-famous psychiatrist is giving this treatment. This is what we need to do. You don't have to pay millions of dollars to get treatment like this. Get moving. Do something. Find somebody. Help them. and your depression goes away. Next step is step 6. Step 6. And 3 more to go. Step 6. Folks, become a proactive person. I repeat, become a proactive person. You know what that means? When we do a 3-day leadership program or a 4-day leadership program, we tell people, we ask them, sometimes by surprise, are you a good person? You know, right at that time, they get taken aback. And some people say, well, I'm not sure. Or if other people think I'm good, I'm good. But you ask, sometimes people say, yes, I'm good. But you ask them a follow-up question, what makes you good? And sometimes people say, I'm good because I don't do bad. I'm good because I don't tell lies. I'm good because I don't cheat. I'm good because I don't steal. So I am good. And my answer to them is, that is incorrect answer. Just because you don't do bad does not make a person good. Go ask a medical doctor. Absence of ill health does not mean good health. If I don't steal, it only means I'm not a thief, but that does not make me good. If I don't tell lies, it only means I'm not a liar, but that does not make me good. And if I'm not a cheat, it does not make me good. That means I'm not a cheat. A person becomes good when they actually do good, which is called proactive. We need to do positive things in life. Now, why am I saying this with you, sharing this with you? Because as a leader, all your tablers, Rotarians, and many other people, they are all leaders. And remember one thing in life. People who say, I stand for something. A good leader is never neutral. They stand for something and they stand against something. I repeat, if you stand for something, you will stand against something. A good leader is never neutral. And those neutral leaders are the ones who are actually troublemakers. They are politicians looking to score points either side, and that's about it. Why am I saying this, sharing this with you? That is, I have no compassion for enemies of humanity. Hear that carefully. I stand for something and I stand against something. I'm not neutral. I have no compassion for the enemies of humanity. Now, who do I call the enemies of humanity? I've seen videos, verified them. There are people in the news. There are people in New York, I saw, in Europe, in India, where there were people who were spitting on doctors, beating them. They're beating the police people. They're beating security people. They're throwing stones at the doctors and the nurses. They're spitting at them. And there are people who are lacing and spitting on the vegetables, spitting on the fruits, spitting on the pizzas while they're delivering. These are people who are sadistic, in my opinion. They are enemies of humanity. I have no compassion for them. Now, I finished a program. There were about 5,000 people. It was a large auditorium. As I finished, a man came up to the dais and he asked me, Mr. Khera, are you a Gandhian? Suraj, you got to hear this. Are you a Gandhian? So I've learned one thing in my life. Unless you clarify the question, don't answer. And two, sometimes the best answer to a question is a question. So I asked him, sir, can you clarify what are the criteria of being a Gandhian? What makes a Gandhian? Can you clarify? So he said, sir, Gandhi stood for 3 principles in life. One, Gandhi believed that with love, you can win everybody in this world. That was one. Number 2, Gandhi believed in tolerance. And number 3, Gandhi believed in non-violence. 3 principles. With love, you can win everybody in this world. 2, tolerance. 3, non-violence. That's what Gandhi philosophy is. 3 pillars. So then again, he asked me, Mr. Khera, are you a Gandhian? I don't know what came to my mind at that point. I said, look, in our culture, the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, and the Ramayana play a big role. I've not read them, but we've heard a lot. So I don't know what came to my mind. Instinctively, I asked him, was Ram a Gandhian? Suraj, you're with me? I asked him, was Ram a Gandhian? I said, let's test out the 3 principles of Gandhi. Did he meet them? You said, with love, you can win everybody in the world. I said, was Ram able to win with love? Answer is, no, he couldn't. Therefore, 1 principle, Ram failed. 2, you said tolerance was the 2nd principle. Did Ram say, I'm very tolerant? You kidnap my wife away, I'll get a 2nd one. You take a 2nd one, I'll get a 3rd one. You take a 3rd one, I'll get a 4th. Did he say that? He said, I do not tolerate kidnappers. I will not tolerate kidnappers. So Ram failed the 2nd test. And 3rd, you said non-violence. I said, tell me, what did Ram do? Now, even for self-defense, he had to kill the evil. It was violence even for self-defense. You can't count it non-violence. So he had to do that. So he failed all 3 tests. Ram failed all 3 tests. So that means Ram was not a Gandhian. Then I said, look at all the Sikh gurus, histories of Sikh gurus. The 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Sahib. The Mughals were forcibly converting people at that time. And did he meet the 3 tests? Was he able to win with love? Answer, no. He said, I do not tolerate oppression and terrorism. And 3, he had to pull up the weapons. So Guru Gobind Singh Sahib also failed the test. In my opinion, I said, Ram and Guru Gobind Singh Sahib were much wiser, astute, and much higher in stature. They were not Gandhians. And I said, I am not a Gandhian. Understand that. I am not a Gandhian. And people who do not have the guts to stand up for the dignity of themselves and their families, they are cowards. That is not tolerance. That is cowardice. That is leading to self-destruction. I do not believe in self-destruction of good. You got to destroy the evil. So you got to be proactive. Proactive is the word. I said a good person will stand for something, but he will also stand against something. If you stand for good, you must stand against evil. Hello? How can you stand for both? You can't. Are you with me, Ayush? You cannot stand for both. There's no way. Neutrals are the rascals. Okay. Be a proactive person. Next one. Number 7. I know I've gone way over time, but let me finish the next 2 items. And people who have other commitments, they can leave. But if you want, I can continue anyway. Just want to finish up the last 2. Is that okay with you?
Please go ahead.
I mean, remember, it takes a lot out of me too. I mean, this is not, but anyway, last two is build high self-esteem. To cope with the crisis, you must build your self-esteem up. Only people with high self-esteem are emotionally strong. They're the people who are able to cope up with the crisis. Emotionally strong people. Now, what is self-esteem? Self-esteem is the way we feel about ourselves. You notice when we feel good, the world looks nice, productivity goes up, and relationships are a lot better, aren't they? And the reverse is just as true. And self-esteem is inversely related to egos. Have you seen people with egos like I know it all? What do? They talk down to people, don't they? They put down others, don't they? And every decision they make is more to satisfy ego than makes sense. Folks, think about it. Why does a human being put down another human being? It is sadistic but true. There are some people in this world who feel good when the other person feels bad. They feel superior when the other person feels inferior, which means they don't want to lift themselves up, but they want to pull others down. Now, we talk of relationships. We talk of team building. We talk of handling stress. What do these egos do to all this? They just destroy it. Now, what is the driver to high self-esteem? Here is it. The driver to high self-esteem is self-acceptance. See, when we do our 3-4 day programs, we put in 5 hours on self-esteem. It is so crucial, 5 hours. And people walk away with the action plan, how to implement. But the driver to high self-esteem is self-acceptance. Self-acceptance says, I accept myself the way I am, with my pluses and minuses. I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. But I accept myself the way I am with my pluses and minuses. Now, this does not mean arrogance. This does not mean take it or leave it. This does not mean complacent. That's the way I am. That's the way I will be. That is called arrogance. That is low self-esteem. But if understood properly, high self-esteem is the epitome of humility. It is the epitome of humility. It says one thing. How I came to this world, I don't know. But I'm here, and I'm here to stay. And it says, I realize I am not perfect. I make mistakes. I made mistakes. I apologize for my mistakes. I seek forgiveness for my mistakes. I'm not proud of my mistakes. I learned from my mistakes. I will not repeat my mistakes, but I am not a mistake. But I am not a mistake. I accept myself the way I am. Does not mean I am going to stay like this. I'm willing to learn and improve and apologize for my mistakes. Now, but low self-esteem is driven with inadequacy. You see, they feel inadequate. They have to prove something to make themselves adequate. They feel good when you feel bad. They feel superior when you feel inferior. You see, they don't want to lift themselves but up. They want to pull others down. Inadequacy. They have identity crisis. That's the problem. And people with identity crisis, they are not only abusive to others, they also become self-abusive. Okay, now let me share with you one little example of high self-esteem. An example I have given in my book, new one, You Can Achieve More. That's the new book. But it says here, example of Charlie Chaplin. Once, Charlie Chaplin was going through Europe and he saw a big hoarding. And it said, Sanjana is there. Okay. It said, Charlie Chaplin lookalike contest. Out of sheer inquisitiveness, he decided to participate. And guess what? He participated, and guess what? He lost. When he lost, he started thinking, boy, the real one loses, the fake one wins. Lookalike contest, fake one wins. But then he started thinking, should I tell them who is the real Charlie Chaplin? Because I'm the only one who knows who is the real one. They don't know. Then he started thinking, why should I tell them? Why should I tell them? Do I need to prove anything to anybody? He said, I have to prove nothing to anyone. I know my true identity. I know who I am. And he walked away. He walked away. You know why? It was self-acceptance. I have to prove nothing. And he walked away. I accept myself the way I am with my pluses and minuses. But keep in mind, it doesn't say I will remain the way it is. And it is humility. That's all it is. Okay. Now, lastly, oh, sorry, two more to go. One more is to cope with the crisis, folks. Stay away from blind faith leading to superstition. It makes people weak in life. I repeat, stay away from blind faith leading to superstition. It makes people weak in life. Folks, one of the biggest damage our media has done to our country is anytime you open up the TV, what do you see? There are some people in the saffron or in the white and putting on some tilaks and all that stuff. And the Babaji is sitting there, Babaji, Babaji, Babaji. And there are thousands of people like there. And have you seen some people there, they give their problem to this Maharaj or Babaji, and then he says, did you have jalebi yesterday? Nahi khai, that's the problem. Did you have golgappa yesterday? And there are people paying money for it. And there are Babas sitting there and they are selling preet, preet, preet karo, preet karo. There is Baba selling honey, honey, honey karo. And they are selling honey preet, mix karo and mix becho. There are all kinds of people doing all kinds of stuff. And interestingly, if you turn the TV on and all you see is there is somebody sitting there, Maharaj Shastriji, and the guy says, tell me your name, where are you born, what time you were born, Janam, date of birth. The guy says, I don't know. He said, don't worry, I'll take it out. Tick, 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 tick. And here, he says, Shani, 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 Shani. And Shani, Shani, yeah. And said, what is the way out? The way out is get a black handkerchief, put a black dal inside, put a black kajal there, and find somebody with black hair, do 7 times kopadi, find a black dog, find a black bartan, and then do all this. Let me ask you, if it was so easy to get Sunny, get him off here, on here, off here, on here, off here, if we can do all that stuff so easily, why don't we send Sunny to Pakistan and get all the terrorists destroyed in one go? Finish! Why don't you do it? You know something? If you look at the life history of Swami Vivekananda, Swami Dayanand, Guru Nanak, they fought and they stood against superstition. Are you aware that in Sikh families, they don't tally any astrology patri? They don't have any manglik. All weddings are done on a Sunday. Sunday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Saturday. Saturday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Friday. There's no problem. I will have so many examples, I can go on and on. Real life examples, what is going on out there. And had I not seen it myself one day, I would have never believed it. One person opened up the TV and he tell this Baba there, yes, Avasya, problem, this problem, this problem, this problem. So the Baba does some tick, 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 tick. And then says, how many children do you have? One girl, one girl, one girl. So upay, do one thing, go back and have a son in your house. He says, Babaji, I can't have a son. Okay, then get a dog, kutta paal lo bhai. Interesting. I mean, look at this, and there are people paying money to do this. Get done. I very strongly recommend that the viewers today get an article from India Today. About a year ago, it was written. And it was written on astrology and blind faith. And they said how blind faith has led to so many childbirths. No, very few childbirths are taking place naturally, that many are coming through C-section and operation. And they especially quoted South India, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Madras. They said 80% of childbirths are coming through C-section operation. You know why? Because some astrologer said, pull them out at this time, good omen. And you know what's going on? That when things go wrong, instead of analyzing and learning from it, people don't do that. You know what they do? They blame the stars. And when they have no learning, they keep repeating the same mistake again and again and again and again. Every situation, we need to learn from it. And if we don't, and we don't accept responsibility, we keep blaming the stars, then you keep doing the same thing again and again. People who are fatalistic in nature, they don't make things happen. They wait for things to happen. And that is not the kind of people we are looking for. Okay. And lastly, to cope with the crisis, this is time to give back in life. This is time to give back, especially those poor people. We are grateful to God that we are privileged. We're living in homes. We have power to sustain. But there are people who don't know what to eat in the evening. And are we not our brother's keepers? Are we not our brother's keepers? Now, I've noticed and seen many news channels and many places all over the world. There are many good people who are coming forward and doing a great job in helping society. That is true. But there is one community I have to salute, and that is the Sikh community. Even before the crisis, do you know 100,000 people were having langar every day before the crisis? After that, today, 500,000 people, 250,000, 500,000, 1 million people are having, they're feeding every day. And not only I salute them, but the government of New Zealand country saluted them. Australia saluted them. UK saluted them. Canada saluted them. US saluted them. You know why? As a community, sharing has become part of their way of life. They are caring people. They care. 2, they share. And 3, they are daring people. They dare. You see, in life, they have the guts and courage to fight against oppression. They have the guts to do. This is what makes me salute for them. And that is, 1, they're caring people. 2, they're sharing people. 3, they're daring people. They dare. Now, last story I'd like to share of a man called Lafayette, a Frenchman. He was a multimillionaire and he had warehouses full of grains. Drought came in France and his advisors told him that, Mr. Lafayette, this is time to multiply your money 10x, 20x, 100x, and they will pay. They will pay. They will sell everything and they'll still pay for food grain. And you know what Lafayette said? He said, when times were good, they were laughing, we were laughing. They were making money, we were making money. They were good times. And he said, this is not time to 10x and 100x. This is not that time. This is time to open up all your granary and give it free. This is time to do it. This is the time to open up your granary. You know something? There are people like that in this world also, who got those monies and they open it for the underprivileged. Now, I was doing a program once. I would say there were people with very high net worth. Now, high net worth and very high net worth is different. Very high net, in my opinion, maybe who have net worth of $250 million, $500 million, or $1 billion. Big time. So one person asked me a question. Mr. Khera, tell me, when a person is a billionaire, why do they continue working, making more money? Why do they continue working and making more money? Why do they do it? So at that time, two things came. And I said, my friend, there are two kinds of people like this, who are millionaires, multimillionaire, billionaires. They keep working and making more money. Two kinds. One is who suffers from inferiority complex. That person keeps a score to keep up with the Joneses. How come they have this, I don't have it? How come they have this, I don't have it? How come they have it, I don't have it? How come, you see, this guy's got 50 million, I must have 100 million. He's got 100 million, I must have 200 million. You got 200 million, I must make 300 million. He's got 300, I must make 400. You see, if I am less, I'm inferior. You see, they check their self-worth by their net worth. They don't understand. People make things, things don't make people. You take the things away, they'll die out of shame. And they keep piling up to keep a score. Otherwise, they'll be inferior. And they keep piling up and they sit like snakes on their treasures and do nothing for society. That is a donkey. And this was very well described by Warren Buffett. He said, just because a donkey's got $1 billion doesn't change his picture. He's still a donkey. As it is well said, if you take a cart of gold bricks on a donkey, the donkey does not become a golden donkey. You see, if you cut scriptures on a donkey, the donkey does not become a spiritual donkey. A donkey bloody well remains a donkey. That's all. Now, this is one breed of people. But there's a second breed of people who are multimillionaires, but they keep working more to make more. You know why? They feel they can help society and help others. The more I make, the more I can help. The more I make, the more I can help. The more I make, the more I help. Look at Warren Buffett. I could stand corrected on the numbers. Probably he had $38 billion. He gave 37 to charity. Bill Gates had $33 billion. He gave $32 billion to charity. Azim Premji gave $7 billion or $8 billion to charity. These are people who give to help the underprivileged. Now, there are some people who say money is not important in life. Money is not important. I've written in my book, people who say money is not important, they're either stupid or they're billionaires. Now, I'm not saying money is the most important thing, but money is important. But I learned one thing in my life, that money in good hands always does good in life. And remember, money in evil hands will always do evil in life. Therefore, I want to close this with one last thought, and that is, it is the moral obligation of every good human being to become a millionaire, multimillionaire, and a billionaire. It is a moral obligation of every good human being to be a multimillionaire and a billionaire. Because remember one thing, money in good hands will always do good. money. Evil hands will always do evil. And folks, out of this lockdown, if we have not upskilled or become more knowledgeable or become fitter and healthier, it is not because we lack time, because we lack self-discipline and commitment. And this is where we have a little program for corporates and schools and colleges. If you prepare, you won't have to repair. If you prepare, you won't have to repair. In fact, we have a program. I will let maybe Ayush or somebody, let them drop a link in our program, which is coming up 2 weeks from now.
Sending a mail, sir. We have got the link. We'll send the mail today.
You can send them and take it forward.
To everyone.
Those words, I would like to thank Rajat, who has initiated the whole thing, and entire team right here of all positive people. And God bless. I know I got way over time.
There are 2-3 things. One person, they want to know more about the 5 days online program which you have. And then we have around some questions, but we'll take 2 or 3.
We'll just, take a couple.
You can tell more about the 5 days program.
5-day program is on how to optimize performance, how to grow by creating a culture of trust and accountability, how to motivate yourself and others, how to prepare to succeed and win. And bottom line is, it is coming back to a bunch of things in terms of relationship, all this that we are covering. It is going to be a little condensed version of the 4-day or 3-day program that we do, but it will be a 5-day program. We will do 2 hours per day from in the evening from 5 to 7. And I highly recommend, hear this, I highly recommend. In fact, I had a principal call up, and there are a few people already registered, by the way. And they said, please do the program from 5 to 7. Besides doing it for corporates, they said, well, many times parents tell me, and even the principal said to me, Mr. Khera, please talk to our kids. The values are messed up, the discipline is messed up. And my answer is, it's not the kids, the parents are messed up. Parents are messed up. But put your kids into the program, prepare so you won't have to repair. And they said to me, please do the program from 5 to 7 in the evening, because many of our children have classes, my grandchildren have classes during the daytime, and they have finished more or less by 3:30. And they said we can sit from 5 to 7 uninterrupted and 2 hours. So that's why we did a program from 5 to 7, 2 hours per week, only for 5 days. That's 10 hours. And that is starting from 25th to the 29th. And I would request Ayush to send to all the people, you have the emails for everybody who's watching right now.
We have the email for everyone. We'll send the mail. So Shiv sir has also agreed to give us a... Yes, Shiv sir has also agreed to give us 11 cardinal rules for business success. The document will be shared with all the participants after the event is over. We will send that mail also.
Ask Rajiv to forward it to you, or they can come down and download from us.
Yes, sir. We have got the link, so we'll be sending the link to everyone.
Just come to our website and download from there.
Correct. Yeah. Now, what we'll do is I'll ask each panel to maybe read out some questions, and those questions can be asked out. I am allowing Saaf Fez to ask the first question. Shah, please ask. I have unmuted yourself.
Good evening, Shiv. Mr. Shiv, good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, I'm Shah Faiz, the one who talked to you some 15 days ago. I'm from Kashmir. I'm a student.
Right, sir. Yeah, I do recall. There was another webinar and you came up. That's right.
I attend your webinar, every webinar. I'm the first person to see your post on Facebook. So I have been trying to ask this question in the recent webinars, but I couldn't, unfortunately. So my question is, you talk of that it's lot better if the hands that serve humanity are lot better than the lips that talk of divinity. So I want to ask that there are so many philanthropists in this world. There are who are donating for poor people, children. So is philanthropy particularly related to donating money, or it can be related to something else also? Please tell about it.
It can be donating many ways. One can do their effort, hard work, physically helping out people at the elderly people who need help. And that can be put in any ways, multiple ways. So you can donate, help. And I'm so glad that you reminded me, this quote used to come out for a few years: hands that serve humanity are a lot better than lips that talk of divinity. And the prime examples are all the roundtablers and the Rotarians, all these people. It's unbelievable what they're doing. So to answer your question, yes, you can do multiple ways in helping out others.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kishore, sir, can you read another question? And then I'll ask Vinay Garg sir to ask his question. Please unmute your mic.
Who's that?
Khera Sahib, it was a nice, very good learning to all of us. One lastly, now due to the lockdown, students, the couple of students, they are stuck, their exams are held. And most of them, they may be thinking of, that their 1 year will be wasted. Because now even the universities has postponed the dates of examination session has been delayed. So
Right.
Kindly give them as message that their precious 1 year of their life is not wasted.
I would repeat one thing, Kishore, that the way I see it, this is the realization that many people have. Education is more important than a degree. I repeat, education is more important than a degree. And today, people who want to learn, it's available free. And if degree was not crucial, get a job, probably 70, 80% of the universities might not even get admission there. They would not have people there. My bottom line is, keep in mind, this 1 year is phenomenal. For a lot of people, you learn a lot. And by the way, it's not only you. I myself, I'm not only giving webinars, I'm taking webinars too, myself. And there is so many other things. I'm reading books, and I'm creating my own entire program online right now. So there is a lot of learning that a person can take place. And I can easily, if not that I'm wishing and hoping for it, I can carry on like this 6 months, no problem with that. And I'll tell you one thing, there's so much to learn, it's unbelievable. So don't look at it as a wasted period. Look at it as a prep time. Remember one thing, hear this. An athlete does not compete at the time of, does not prepare at the time of competition. He prepares always before. I repeat, an athlete does not prepare at the time of competition. When the lockdown is over, that is the time to compete. An athlete prepares before, and he demonstrates his preparation at the time of competition. So prepare. When lockdown is over, that's the time to show your preparation and move forward from there. It's not lost time.
Ashima ma'am, you want to ask a question? Please go ahead and mute your mic.
We'll wind up.
Last question, second last question. Ashima ma'am, you want to ask something?
Yes, sir. I have a question. So fantastic, learnings today, sir. What I wanted to ask is that if someone says that I accept my ego as a flaw, and especially somebody who's in a leading role now, and label it as self-acceptance, then how do we address that?
Come again, one more time.
Yes, sir. So if somebody says that when we were talking of self-esteem, particularly at that time, you had mentioned that we should accept our flaws. So my question here is related to that if someone says, I accept my ego as a flaw, and somebody who's in a leading role says that, label it as self-acceptance, the ego as self-acceptance, then how do we address that?
Let me clarify that. No. And a person says, well, my ego is my flaw, so that's the way I am, that's the way I will be. That's arrogance.
Right.
Outright arrogance. I think the meaning of this is lost. Hear this carefully. See, the meaning behind is, I accept myself the way I am. I realize I'm not perfect. I realize. And that does not mean that that's the way I am, that's the way I will be. That does not mean complacence either. And that does not mean either take it or leave it. That is all, this is arrogance. And this is humility. It says, I realize I'm not perfect. I know that. I make mistakes. And that ego is a mistake. I make mistakes. I made mistakes. I apologize for my mistakes. I seek forgiveness for my mistakes. I learn from my mistakes. I will not repeat my mistakes. I am not proud of my mistakes, but I am not a mistake, which means I'm not perfect, but I am willing to change. If this guy is not willing to change, that is outright arrogance. That is arrogance on top of arrogance. So absolutely, we need to catch the spirit. And this is the crucial part. And this is one area where we spend 5 hours, 4 hours on self-esteem, where people walk in and they understand, what the hell am I doing? A behavior pattern of a person with low self-esteem, you will be shocked. There are 50 behavior patterns of what we do, how we do. And these are self-destructive behavior. I repeat, this is called self-destructive behavior. And that is what we need to avoid, self-destructive behavior. Overcome them. All right, folks. I think we had 2.5 hours.
Yes, sir.
Session. Never realized it would go that far.
There are 3-4 questions relating to books. So if you can tell one book, which one book you are reading or something about any book, and then we'll close it out.
Well, I would very strongly recommend the book that has sold close to 10 million copies. You Can Win and You Can Achieve More. You Can Sell, of course. I mean, and then along with that, I will share with you a couple more. And that is, one is called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Excellent book. Another one is Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Excellent book. And another one more is I'm Okay, You're Okay by Dr. Thomas Harris. Amazing book. There are many books. So, I mean, if you read these, I think they are very good books to put a person on track. Excellent books.
Fine, Shiv sir. Thank you for the lovely session. And we'd like to thank you from Roundtable India, Taxila Business School in BNI, Jaipur, Nagpur, Hyderabad, and Vapi Valsad, and all the other members from across India. And we'd like to thank you from everyone. Thank you, sir.
Grateful. All the best. God bless. Thank you.
All the other questions, we'll be sending out the answers. We'll share it with Shiv sir, and he'll send you the answers and all. And we'll be sending 2 links on the mail. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Shiv sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nilesh. Thank you, Ayush. Thank you, Nanesh, Jay, Sanjana, Prateek sir, Kishore sir. Thank you all the audience and everyone who has attended the session today. Thank you, everyone.
Superb session here. Really, really enriching.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Great job. Great job. How do we get the recording of this here? You had mentioned, I think, earlier.
On-demand webinar, you'll be able to directly log in on the same login and see the recordings for this. We'll also send a link on mail with the details. So you'll be getting a mail with the recording link.
Okay, great.
There will be some forms also which is there. So Shiv sir has given a document of 12 principles on how it says exactly 11 cardinal rules for business success. We'll be sharing that document also in the same email. So the email which you have registered with, you'll be able to get an access to those.
Super.
Thank you everyone for joining. We can now close.
Thank you, man. Thank you to you guys to organize this. Really, really good. Cheers.